anyway, so congratulations coming up on the end of the first season.
I know. The show's doing well, surprisingly.
Lots of opportunity, lots of repeats. Now you're getting the DC Nation stuff paired with it.
Yeah. Although Cartoon Network just changed their whole lineup and moved everything up till like 6:30, so people have to find us again. So every time they move the show, people have to re-find it. But yeah, the show's doing, I think, much better than anyone expected. We're happy about that.
How frustrating is that, like, to finally get to the point where you feel like you've established good footing, and then now they switch it up and they change it?
You know, it's sort of double-edged in the way that it's like you have your audience knows where to find you, and then you move it. But then if they make the effort to follow you to a new time period, then that means you have something that people want to watch. So in that regard, it's satisfying. Also, our repeats sometimes get higher ratings than our new episodes. So people just, I think, because that's one of the reasons Teen Titans is a comedy, is because people like to watch comedy over and over and over, as opposed to action shows. Most people, you watch one, you get the information, you get the storyline, you go to the next one, and you don't really go back as often. But comedies, you know, you can watch the same stupid episode like 15 times in a row. So.
Well, I mean, you got to do a future episode, so you got to have Nightwing's mullet in there.
Yes, always. Anytime you do a DC show, you got to do a Nightwing mullet episode.
It's very important. And you already had a space to do a lot of, like, you had Masumeno-san, you had a lot of drops with a lot of different characters. So, you know, do you now have the golden list of people you didn't think necessarily would make it to or get
to you know, use? For this show, I actually prefer to keep it within the 5. You know, I think the show's stronger if you could focus on those 5 characters and try to get new stories, and forces you to be more creative because you tell all the obvious stories pretty quickly, and so you have to go into weirder places. But that said, if we get a 3rd season, which it looks like we might, you know, we've done at that point we've done 102 episodes. So if we get another 52 episodes on top of that, or however many it is, it will be almost impossible to come up with that many ideas. So I think that's when we're going to go into the archive and hit all those characters like people want to see, and dig a little deeper. And but you know, even in the 2nd season, we definitely have characters coming up. I think Kid Flash is going to be in an episode. I think Aqualad is going to be in, and you know, where it's possible, we try to bring the same voice actors back. So, but more than not, we either invent a stupid character or we stick to the 5.
Do you feel like that, you know, it was such a tough road to kind of, I think, get it established, and now you go into that room and you see like all the youngsters, like the kids just like really gravitate to it. Like, how gratifying is it to feel like you've achieved kind of what you set out?
You know, it's funny, this is the first show, you know, I've been working in children's animation for like 15 years now, but this is the first show I feel like kids watch, you know. You know, the other shows are action shows, and you know, most of the fans, not most of them, but a lot of them were adults. But this is the first show that I worked on that people I know, people I grew up with, or people I work with, they all say, "Oh, my kid loves that show. My kid loves that show." And I think in general, it's because we're doing something that's accessible to kids. You know, Young Justice is a great show, but you know, may go over the head of you know, 6-year-olds. And Thundercats is another show I worked on that may have been a little too mature for a younger audience. So it's nice to make something for the audience, and just random people off the street will, you know, come up to me and start saying like waffles. We did an episode where the characters just said waffles. So yeah, no, that's gratifying. It's fun to see, and you know, there's still lots of people out there who make this show. Lots of people still want to punch me in the face. But I think
more people will defend you now.
I know. I got a wall. You're
gonna
have to punch all of them in the face if you're coming for me. Yeah, I know. Beat up some 6-year-olds to get to me.
If they're that determined.
I hope so.
This is slightly off topic, but you know, you're talking about all the animation you did. You did the Wonder Woman animated, which is, last I checked, the 4th highest grossing animated feature of all time.
So I don't know if that's true, though. Now, they give me a hard time at work because that was the only DTV that didn't make money. That it just literally this year, or maybe like Christmas time, crossed it was no longer in the red, and we made that in 2009. So I think the budget for that one was a lot higher than the other ones. They had a really amazing cast, so I think there was a lot more money spent on that and other things. But for whatever reason, people didn't go to it immediately. I think over the years, people have found it and like, oh, I didn't think this was going to be good. I didn't think it was going to be like they have some sort of image of what they think Wonder Woman's going to be. I'm not sure what that image is, but like almost universally, all the positive reviews is like, I wasn't expecting this. It's like, what were you expecting?
Well, I don't know. I almost feel like it's not that I don't know what they're expecting, but they're not necessarily expecting it to be good because so many attempts have not been good previously.
Yeah.
Possibly. But, that's off topic. But I was just wondering in terms of, now that that's coming out and now that we have, kind of Wonder Woman hitting the big screen, do you have any sort of opinion on how she should be portrayed since you've already written her?
I didn't invent the character, so it's, it would be ridiculous for me to get personal and say, hey, there's only one way for any of these characters to be portrayed. I mean, I think for these characters to live as long as they live, it's important that different creators get their hands on them, try different things with them, interpret them from new audiences. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people, as were angry for Teen Titans. It's like, they're not supposed to be goofy and silly, but our interpretation worked, and because it worked, I think it's going to allow Teen Titans to like live a lot longer than if no one did anything with it. So.
How do you see like the next season going? Do you see any tweaks or any kind of more of the same, or do you feel like there's a definite maybe like a story that you kind of want to develop?
Well, we don't really tell stories. I mean, there's some like as far as arcing stories. But we test our limits. We will go into like weird places and then pull back and then go into dark places. Because in the beginning of the second season, we did a bunch of episodes that were a little darker, and it felt like we were going in the wrong direction. This kids show, it's fun. It's like we're best when we're like lively and happy and sort of colorful. So we pulled back off that, but yeah, it's always an evolution towards more weird. We're like, how crazy can we get and still tell a story that makes sense? So that's I think you'll see in the second season.
More food stories on the way?
Yeah, it's funny. Aaron, the other producer, we had a conversation. It's like, I think we're done with food stories. I think we've told all our stories about food that you can. So, but I guarantee you there'll be more. There's definitely more in second season, and if we get a third season, I'm sure there'll be more of it because it's easy to write about food.
I will.